Now, our next guest is best known for cooking up a storm on Saturday mornings since realising his dreams of becoming a chef when he was just 18. Not much introduction needed, really. Please welcome James Martin. Did you see that picture we just showed of you?
Where was what happens when you do Google. What? Where do you get that from?
Let's show it again. Let's show it again, just to embarrass you. Look at you.
Very nice. We still got those trousers.
Yeah.
The jacket still fits me, that's the problem. Yeah.
Well, you're looking very good, and I was reading you that you've given up fizzy drinks, was it?
Fizzy drinks.
Just
fizzy drinks. Well, fizzy drinks was really I don't drink tea and coffee, so... fizzy drinks was always sort of my nemesis, really, and in the kitchen particularly. And we found that in and out of COVID that I wasn't concentrating properly. You know, you were getting this massive sugar rush. So I just swapped to water, and the minute I swapped to water, nearly 3 stone just gone.
Just like that, with not changing your diet.
Yeah, so the
all,
chefs now have literally bottles of water in my section. Make sure he's happy. Just give him water.
That's your next book, water.
Water, that's the next book. But it's amazing. The difference is it makes your brain sharper, you see better, you're just, much more alert and,
Just by doing that. Well, small things, they say, don't they? Small things.
Absolutely.
Well, as you said, the next book, water, but before you do that one, we've got to talk about potato. I think this is genius, because I've got your butter one, also genius, but I love the idea of this, that go-to book. If you say, oh, I want to do a potato dish, I've got these potatoes, or these, I need to use these up, and you just know it's all going to be in here.
Well, it was interesting. You were talking about cooking at home in COVID land and everything, and then the publisher said, "Oh no, let's do a book about home cooking." I said, people are a bit peed off with home cooking and that kind of stuff. Do something slightly different, and so I led on an ingredients led, and I looked at this sort of the aisle in the supermarket. Saw potatoes was probably the biggest aisle in there. There's about 5,000 different types of potatoes out there as well.
I didn't know that until I read about it.
Well, my mate's got a fish and chip shop, and he changes his potatoes every 8 weeks. So potatoes are very, very seasonal, although you get them particularly times of the year. But they're also, your King Edwards are particularly seasonal, and they'll change, and they'll go to a different type of potato for their chips.
I'm so pleased you're saying that, because I grow potatoes.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Top trouble talking about my vegetables, but I feel passionately that potatoes have a bad rep, because you can have... Everybody knows about Jersey Royals, they know about Maris Piper, they know about King Edward, but there are loads of fabulous
I was talking to 2 journalists the other day that didn't realise out of 1 potato you get 20 potatoes.
Yeah, anyone can grow them.
They didn't quite understand that, whereas it's total opposite to a carrot, or as a seed and that kind of stuff. It's just, you plant that, and also you need to plant it, so when you see these fields full of potatoes, you can't plant potatoes in the same field for at least 4 years. So crop rotation is so vitally important.
But don't you think they've also been demonised by diets? You know, no carbs, carbs are bad, cut the potatoes out.
This is the guy who did a book on butter in the middle of...
That's why we love you, James.
I'm not really a trend-setter or a follower, to be honest
with you.
But
we are made to think they're the enemy, and actually we need carbs, we need energy.
We need food. Food's an enjoyment in life, isn't it, really? And I've always been fascinated by food. I've always loved food. I've never been into sort of 2 bits of lettuce and a bit of hummus. It's great, it's lovely.
Food is life.
But I want some food as well.
In your book, you've done one of my favourite recipes, which is the tartiflette, which is the potatoes with cream and butter.
Yeah, tartiflette is the classic dish from the Alps, but it's cooked potatoes. And there's a new potato called Anya. I know we were speaking back there about this type of potato. It's actually relatively new potatoes. They cross-pollinate 2 potatoes. It's named after Lady Sainsbury. It's relatively new, so you can take these, cook them. They're in the supermarket. They look like sort of small Jerusalem artichokes. Slice them, sliced onions over the top, with or without lardons, and then you put the cream and you put the white wine on the top. Ooh. Purely
I'm
starving. But then you take Robuchon.
So hungry.
A Robuchon cheese cut in half, on the top, baked in the oven.
Why didn't you bring that instead of the microwave meals?
I didn't bring the microwave meals, to be fair.
Would you be horrified if I invited you for dinner and gave you a microwave meal? Would you be horrified?
Do you know what? No, because microwave things like potatoes, microwave mash is great. Yeah. You know, out of a microwave, but it's what you do with it. So you know, I lost a game of golf the other day, and part of the deal is that when we lose a game of golf, there's a group of gentlemen that play golf, and they're quite famous chefs in very famous restaurants, and so the loser, which was me, I had to go and buy a takeout on a Friday night. I had to buy a doner kebab, basically.
Oh, yeah.
For everybody.
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic. I was getting more stuff, cheesy chips as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Exactly. See, so I don't mind the takeaway. Don't bother me.
So Matt says he's in the jungle for dyslexia, and you were diagnosed with dyslexia sort of later on.
I think people wanted to keep him in there, to be honest with you. just take the cameras away and just leave. But he's just not the problem. The problem is they're still stuck at number 10, aren't they, really? But I think, for me, really, dyslexia was one of those things that I kind of learnt to not really to deal with it. It was one of those things on a Wednesday, I remember, upset and crying my eyes out. I'd have 20,000 words to write on a Wednesday night because I kept making a mistake. And I only realised until I started to read the autocue.
Yeah.
And it was until I sat and read the autocue. I remember we did This Morning together. Oh, never, ever again. This lady's a genius at it.
She really is.
A genius at it. So, I am not.
Well, no,
but I can cook and talk and stuff like that, and I can do that. If I'm doing stuff at the same time, that's fine. But to sit and read that...
But that must have been very tough at school if it's not diagnosed.
It was, and I failed all my exams at school, which was just enough qualifications to get you in catering college. I failed cookery at school.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. But I couldn't do it academically. I could do it practically-wise. I nearly got expelled at 11 because... You know, when you were told to bring in your ingredients for 11 years old, 12 years old, we want to create a dish. They were doing butterfly buns and Victoria sponge. I did flambé chicken livers with more to it. I bought a bottle of brandy in. Going up in the section.
But you've actually said that you've never read a book.
No, I never read a book in my entire life. I've written 34. I've read that. The way I do it is dictate it on a so the wonderful lady called Sam Head, she's written most of my books with me. Is I'll make something and then she follows it. So even on the Saturday show that we do, all the recipes that we do is the first time I ever cook it, is the first time you ever see it. For the last 16 years of Saturday morning, I don't rehearse any of it.
Incredible.
So I spend my Saturday mornings watching. Look at those. Look at those.
Roast potatoes.
Roast potatoes with salt.
There is a tip for that at Christmas.
No, you haven't got time. Sorry. Okay. I've got time. I was just trying to get you back to me, you know, in that subtle way that I do. Honestly, it is a fantastic book, James.
So
Potato, James Martin. It's out now. Thank you so much. James Martin. That is it for today. Tomorrow